All right, friends, welcome, welcome, welcome. If you're watching this recording later, hey, can I just point out before I start sharing my screen that I showered today? So this is not a hairdo. This is more like I pinned my hair right here and started to straighten my hair after I blew it dry. And then my kids woke up from their nap. So this is that. So it's slowly going to fall this way, I think, which hopefully you'll be looking at what's on the screen and not me, but fair warning. We are going to talk about common mistakes and myths today. So let me put this up here. Let me make that smaller so I can see. Okay. So, these are common mistakes, common myths, kind of, it comes a lot from questions that I get from people. Also, so it's not that people tell me things that are untrue. It's that they ask me questions and they lead with non-factual information. Now, let me also say as we get into some of this that some of these are things I had to learn too. So when I say this, or sometimes when I have these conversations with clients, it can come out like, oh, she just knows everything about everything. No, 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 no. Some of these are ever evolving pieces of science. Like we used to think one way and now science has evolved and we have more data and we are smarter. Some of it is trial and error. And then some of it is just, nope, sorry, that's never been correct. So we're going to go through these like that. And again, I promise you that I had to learn some of these things also. But I do want you to come at this with an open mind. I am going to talk about a few things that might be controversial. Everything that I share with you, as I said on our very first call when I did our introduction, everything I share with you is based in fact or science. So if you would like the supporting data, I'm happy to share it with you. Just jot down whatever it was and then shoot me a message after. Last thing, you are all muted or you should be muted. Please don't unmute yourself to ask a question in the moment. If you could just jot it down and then at the very end, I will stop the recording and then unmute and then you can ask questions. If you're watching this back, put your questions in the comments if you don't mind sharing them with other people or send me a message, right? Let's get into this because I promised you it would be shorter. All right, I love a good meme. So we're going to start with this one. If you can't see it, maybe you're on your phone. It says, "Dear Diet, things just aren't going to work out between us. It's not me, it's you. You're tasteless, boring, and I can't stop cheating on you." We're going to start with nutrition-oriented myths. And like we did last week when we talked about food and nutrition and food goals, I want to remind you that if your diet is tasteless and boring, and that's not because you have coronavirus and can't taste anything, you're doing it wrong. Okay. So do not diet. Make long term nutritional lifestyle changes that you want to continue to do. All right. In no particular order, let's start with this. Calories in. Can I also tell you, side note, that when I was looking for generic images for some of these slides, I got hilarious results. So I'm happy to share some of those with you later. All right. First things first. Calories in and calories out are all that matters. If you didn't know, these are all myths, which means every single one of them is false. But false, calories in and calories out is not all that matters. Whether it's weight loss, weight gain, maintenance, recovery from an injury, whatever it is, calories in and calories out is not all that matters. This is not a transaction. So unless you are competing in a fitness competition tomorrow, what you eat today is not going to make or break tomorrow, right? Focusing solely on calories does not account for other variables. So I'm going to try not to read all of these to you as is, but I do want to point out when you focus only on a number, right? Okay, my calorie target is 2,150. That's my goal based on what we did last week. And if you're like, I don't know what my goal is, watch last week's call. So 2,150, and all I'm going to focus on is that number. That's not taking into account things like hormonal imbalances, right? What you eat has a big part to play in how your hormones work, how things are produced or not produced. So if we're only focusing on the number, we're not focusing on the content of what we're eating. We're not taking into account things like those imbalances. Health conditions, hyper or hypothyroidism is going to have a big part to play in weight gain and weight loss. That has nothing to do with how much or how little you're eating. Medications that you're consuming. For example, if you're on a steroid, you're going to gain weight just from being on that steroid. Water retention comes with steroid consumption. So that has nothing to do with what you're eating. And then genetics. Some people, for example, have a genetic marker that makes them predisposed to poorly handling dietary cholesterol. Maybe they're eating low cholesterol diets, but they're still seeing negative results and having bad cholesterol increase. That's a genetic thing, potentially. Has nothing to do with the content of their diet, and certainly has nothing to do with the number of calories you're consuming. Um, Focusing on calories is unsustainable, right? Only drilling into that number is just not long term going to be a positive thing for you. It can lead to choosing low calorie, nutrient poor foods. We're going to talk about low fat and diet foods on a separate slide. But if you're only focusing on your number, sometimes all you're eating is rice cakes, and that's not great. And then it can lead to compulsive behavior. So, again, we're going to talk about tracking again in just a second. But if you're obsessing over that number, you can imagine how that could lead to um, compulsive behaviors, right? Punishing yourself for going 2 or 3 calories over or under. Again, obsessively eating to a target, not a good thing. So, calories in and calories out are not all that matters. High fat foods are unhealthy. False. We need dietary fat in our lives. And here are some examples of things that can give you good, healthy fat: olives, avocados, nuts, seeds, oils. Not all oils are created equal. So I tried to write on here, I think, yes, cooking oils like avocado oil and olive oil. Those are good things. But you need that dietary fat. Dietary fat does lots of things for your body. It cushions your organs. We do not want our organs playing bumper cars, right? So it cushions the organs. It helps regulate your body temperature. People who have eating disorders where they binge and purge or are anorexic or bulimic in general tend to also be really cold. It's because they don't have a lot of body fat to help keep their body temperature regulated. Alternatively, even people who don't have eating disorders, who don't consume the right content of dietary fat, tend to see that their temperature goes up and down and up and down and up and down like a stock ticker. We don't want that. So, low fat diets are not great for you. They can lead to insulin resistance, which is bad. We need that. Increased triglyceride levels, bad. That can lead to heart disease. So, we want to make sure that we are consuming generally, for the average person, about 30% of our calories every day from healthy dietary fat sources. And again, if you're like, I need more help with that, send me a message. Breakfast is the healthiest meal of the day. This is one of those we reserve the right to get smarter in the health field. This is proving to be increasingly false. So I can't say, yes, it's wrong, or nope, it's totally right. But I can tell you that I grew up being told that breakfast was the healthiest meal of the day. Part of that is somebody calling me in the middle of this call. Sorry. Part of that is the fact that when you're a child, breakfast is much more important for you than when you're an adult. And that's because your body is actually growing and changing, and your cells are still multiplying, and your bones are still growing. So we're talking about strictly for your average adult. Foregoing breakfast or consuming it later, meaning not right when you wake up. And I know when Tracy watches this back, or any of my clients who struggle with eating breakfast, they'll be like, now you're telling me? But consuming it slightly later in your morning or in your day, like intermittent fasting, can actually help increase blood sugar control and reduce inflammatory markers, which is great for your heart and your brain. We don't want things to be inflamed. So me personally, unless I have to teach in the morning, like if I teach a 5:30 class, 5:30 a.m., it's different. But generally on a normal day, my kids get up at 7:30. I try not to eat breakfast or eat my first meal of the day before 10:30. That's just me. This again does not apply to children, growing children or teens, or people with increased nutrient needs. Like if you're pregnant, the way you eat is totally different than it might ordinarily be. And that's on purpose, right? You are growing a life. Or people with specific health concerns like diabetics. You have to eat on a schedule. That makes sense. So generally speaking, if you don't like breakfast, don't eat it. That does not mean, however, that you hoard all your calories and wait till dinner and like binge at Cheesecake Factory. That's not what this means. Just make smarter choices throughout your day. All right, another fun one for my clients. You need small, frequent meals for optimal health. This is also proving to be increasingly false. However, big caveat here. It is not the idea that eating small, frequent meals is bad. That's not what this is about. That's not what's false. It's the idea that you have to eat that way in order to be healthful. That's proving to be increasingly false. Generally speaking, the rule of thumb is it doesn't matter the frequency of when you're eating. Again, assuming you're not hoarding your calories. So you see it says soapbox because I can get on the soapbox. Do not hoard your calories and only eat one meal a day. That's not what this means. But what it means is that if you're not somebody who can do 6 small meals throughout the day, you don't have to. What you have to do, or what you should try to do, is follow the same pattern every day. That's it. Follow the same pattern. If that pattern is 3 meals a day, awesome. One other note about this, even though it is not necessary or required to eat small, frequent meals throughout the day for optimal health, we do want to keep our metabolism up and revving, which means you should not eat at 8 a.m. and then not eat again until 4 p.m. That would be bad. All right. That's where the 6 small meals concept came from, was to keep people's metabolism up and revving. All right. So just make it balanced throughout your day. Follow a regular pattern. And again, I have to keep saying it because somebody will not hear me the first time. If you're pregnant, you have a specific health condition like diabetes, or in this example, coronary artery disease, IBS, whatever, and you have to eat on a schedule that is more smaller meals throughout the day, then please do that. Okay, I'm just saying it is not a requirement for the average person. Ooh, too fast. Non-nutritive. Can you work that into a sentence before you go to bed? I would love it. Non-nutritive sweeteners are healthy. That is false. I gave you a picture here of a bunch of basically fake sugar, right? Everybody has seen fake sugar somewhere. These are not great for you. So low calorie, low carb, sugar-free foods were a big thing when I was like 13, right? Sugar-free everything, fat-free everything, low carb, low calorie everything. We basically took the fuel out of food. And in order to do that, we sort of chemically modified, right? So we know that avoiding a diet high in added sugar is good. It has a lot of health benefits. We're not talking about naturally occurring sugar, like when you eat an apple, there's sugar in that. It's natural. That's okay. We're talking about all the added sugar, right? If sugar is an ingredient in your food, if you look at the nutrition label, that's added sugar. But using non-nutritive sweeteners, or NNS, as a substitute for sugar can actually have negative health outcomes. First, it can increase your risk for contracting type 2 diabetes. If you don't know the difference, type 1 diabetes, you cannot control. You're born with it. It will never go away. Type 2 diabetes is entirely preventable. You create it based on your health and nutrition and fitness. We can talk about that separately. But type 2 diabetes is the kind you could prevent and you can get rid of. So when you consume a lot of these non-nutritive sweeteners, it actually increases the likelihood that you contract type 2 diabetes. It can also negatively impact your gut health. And I don't know how much you know about gut health. There's a lot going on in your gut. It's like a big petri dish, and that's a good thing. Non-nutritive sweeteners, change the way our gut works. It shifts bacteria around. That's not a good thing. All right. Bacteria need sugar, kind of like yeast. In fact, there's yeast in the body, which is a whole separate thing. But just be aware, using equal all the time is not a good substitute. People also tend to go way overboard because they think it's healthy sugar and that they can, consume more of it. All right, macros matter more than diet quality. Macronutrients is the composition of your food, okay? Numbers. Just think about macros as numbers. This is false. Quality will always matter over the numbers. So this kind of goes back to obsessing over the calorie number, your target calories for the day. Obsessing over your macros. Did I get 40% carbs, 30% protein, 30% fat today? That's what that means. Obsessing over your macros is bad. It is actually possible to hit your macro target. So again, taking your calorie target and breaking it down by percentages of carbs, protein, and fat. You could hit that target, whatever it is for you, by eating nothing but highly processed foods and protein shakes, right? So you could go to McDonald's and have Big Macs and French fries all day, drink some protein shakes, and still hit your macro numbers. But that discounts how negatively those foods are impacting your actual body, right, on the inside. So we don't want to obsess over macros. Tweaking your macros can be helpful. For example, even if you're eating a nutrient rich diet, if you're consuming, I don't know, 60% protein, you're not going to see long lasting healthful results. So tweaking that kind of number is helpful. But generally speaking, just eat a diet rich in whole foods, unprocessed foods, meaning man did not make it, right? It was naturally occurring to begin with, um, regardless of the macros, right? The macros can work themselves out. I love this one. This is one of my favorites on this list. White potatoes are the devil. That's false. It's just not right. Eating too much of anything can lead to weight gain, but white potatoes and all potatoes are full of really good stuff. Potassium, vitamin C, and fiber, just to name a few. Now, can I get that from sweet potatoes? Yeah, sure. Or purple potatoes, or fingerling potatoes, or yes, but white potatoes are not harmful. All right. I think white potatoes got lumped in with things like white rice, white flour, white sugar in those diets that eliminated all white things. All right. White potatoes are not bad for you. They're actually more filling than a lot of other carb sources. So if we're talking about sustainable fullness, white potatoes are good. That said, you got to enjoy your white potatoes in a healthy way. That means roasted or baked primarily, not baked and coated in sour cream, although God, I love a good baked potato. But eating them healthfully, that's good, right? Eating them as French fries every time, not good. Low fat and diet foods are healthy alternatives. Here are just a few. If it says light, diet, fat free, whatever, avoid it like the plague in general, okay? Typically, in order to make something like yogurt have the same texture that you're expecting, or sour cream is a better example. In order to make sour cream still be smooth and creamy, but also super low fat or no fat, we're going to pull out the fat, which tends to smooth things out, and we're going to replace it with sugar and salt to give it textural components that you're used to or you're expecting, and flavor components that you're used to or expecting. Have you ever tried something like diet or fat-free ranch dressing? Ooh. It tastes terrible. And that's because they've taken out a lot of the flavor agent, which is the fats. All right. But they had to replace them with something. So if you look at the ingredient list, I think you'll be saddened. You can avoid all of these things. All right. Generally speaking, I'm giving you permission to eat the full fat variety of whatever it was. If you're going to have potato chips, having the light potato chip bag in front of you only guarantees that you're going to eat the entire bag. So just eat the full fat potato chips and eat less than that. Easier, tastes better, and you feel better about it. Okay? So don't eat the fakers. Skinny equals healthy. This is false. Full stop. Like, you can read all of these things, but skinny does not mean healthy. Plenty of skinny people are unhealthy. That said, please don't come after people who, in your mind, look too skinny, therefore they couldn't be healthy. Healthy just means you're eating a well-rounded diet, free of most processed foods. You're maintaining a healthy body weight and body fat percentage for your height, for your activity level, and for your age. And if I sound like I'm talking to you like I talk to my high school students, it's because I am. Too many times, people associate those folks that have a small frame with being unhealthy. Why don't you just eat something already? Don't do that to people, please. Focus on yourself. Be selfish, all right? Don't cast all that out on other people. Being healthy also means you exercise and rest regularly. You have a support system and you are supporting other people. What? That doesn't have anything to do with my body. Yes, it does. Being healthy is all the way around. You have strong mental and emotional health, meaning you're not out there punching walls. You know how to handle your emotions. You know where to go for help. You're doing what you need to do to ensure that you take care of your mind the same way you take care of your body. It does matter. Whole separate conversation. But the way your brain works affects the way your body works. Spiritual health. You have a sense of purpose. It doesn't mean it's not a religious thing. It just means that you know that you matter. And environmental health, understanding the impact that you have on the environment matters to your physical health, because if your water and your air quality are terrible, your overall health is going to be terrible. So understanding how you impact the environment, how what you eat impacts the environment, affects your overall health. Ooh, too fast. Fiber supplements are a good replacement for high fiber foods. False. Fake anything is not a good replacement for the real anything, just generally. Fiber supplements can help improve bowel movements. Bowel movements are good. Fiber helps sweep out your digestive system, which is a good thing. And it helps regulate blood sugar, but it should not be a replacement for high fiber foods. Here are some. It's the best way to ingest the plant compounds. Fiber doesn't come in anything that's not a plant. And you need those plant compounds to help promote your overall health. These cannot be replaced. All smoothies and juices are healthy. Wrong. I love Smoothie King, but let me tell you, there's signage on Woodruff Road right now that says something to the effect of like, stay healthy during quarantine, or health is back, or something. No, most of the things you're going to get at Smoothie King are not healthy. Hear me again. Not healthy. A nutrient-dense smoothie or freshly made juice composed of non-starchy fruits and vegetables can certainly be a great way to increase your vitamin, mineral, and antioxidant intake. However, the ones you buy at the store, the ones you didn't make and control what went into it, are generally packed full of a bunch of nonsense. All right, like Smoothie King is a great example, because you might think, well, I watched them make it and all they did was put a scoop of protein powder, some whole milk, a banana, and a glob of peanut butter in there. That all seems healthy. No. Too much fat, too much sugar. I'm guaranteeing you right now that is not all natural sugar-free peanut butter that's only peanuts. It's probably Jiffy. All right? It's not helping you. So be aware. Make it yourself. Okay? Also, the ones with too much sugar, like Naked brand smoothies, are my favorite at the grocery store to talk about, because they have so much sugar in them. It's like 3 bottles of ketchup or a soda, and they will rot your kids' teeth. So please don't do that. Make your own. Other miscellaneous myths about nutrition, and then we're going to jump into fitness, and then we're going to be in goals, and then we'll be done. Weight loss is easy. No. It reuses. No, it requires. That should say requires consistency, self-love, right? Giving yourself grace, working hard, but also being patient. It also requires understanding yourself. So if you are not familiar with any genetic issues that you might have that affect your ability to be healthy, or to lose weight, if that's your goal, please have a conversation with your physician. It's very easy to get tested for these kinds of things. Tracking calories and macros is necessary for weight loss. Nope, we've already covered that. We want to get an idea of where we are and where we should be, track until we get that under control, and then stop obsessively tracking. Okay? Eating disorders affect only women. I love to put this in here because it is absolutely untrue. And even though all of you in this group are women, I do need to share, because a lot of you are raising young men, that obsessive behaviors related to body image can impact anyone. Over 30% of adolescent men report body dissatisfaction and the use of unhealthy methods to attain their ideal body type. Think about that, especially those of you with little boys at home. The way you talk about your body impacts the way they feel about their bodies. All right, be aware. Carbs make you gain weight. Nope. Following unhealthy eating patterns, overindulging, eating too much of anything, that's what makes you gain weight. Carbs are not your enemy. Watch the last call. All right, I love this. Most of you came from the liberal moms group. So if you did not come from the liberal moms group and you look at this and you're like, that's Donald Trump Jr. and that's mean, just close your eyes for a second. This is the worst deadlift form. Look at his spine. Oh my God, look at his face. No, just no. But the point of this meme is fitness myths. Believing these fitness myths is bad form. All right? These are so much faster, guys. We're almost there. 1, believing that you can target your fat burn. You cannot. And I have my notes down here because I want to say this exactly correctly. Working out can reduce your overall body fat, but you cannot control where your fat comes from. Can you spot train? Like if I wanted to work on my booty, could I do a lot of booty exercises? Sure. Will that make my booty change? Yeah, but I'm also going to burn fat from other places that I can't control. Just like you can't control where fat goes when you ingest too much of the wrong thing, you cannot target your fat burn. All right, so just be aware. Things like belly bands that are designed to increase sweating in a particular area, like your core, are just creating more heat, which is reducing the storage of water. Like you sweat more, right? That's the point, which does temporarily make your abdominal area look less flabby. That is not a long-term solution. All right. You are not actually spot training anything. Same with those things that are meant to like jiggle your midsection, right? Or like shock it. Not a long-term solution. All right. Avoid that. Next, you shouldn't work out on an empty stomach. Here's the deal. Your body actually burns more fat when you didn't immediately fuel it. So those of you who are like, I don't want to work out in the morning, but I also don't like to eat breakfast, work out in the morning because you did not eat breakfast. Don't not drink water though. Like don't have a completely empty stomach, but working out without immediately fueling without let me start that sentence over. Sorry. Working out without previously immediately fueling your body, that didn't make sense either. You know what I mean? Eating right before you work out is not necessary. Your body will actually burn more fat if you don't. That said, if you have gone all day and not really eaten and then you plan to work out, you need to put something in there. Your body needs fuel to pull from because all day it's been burning through the fuel it would have used in the beginning. Okay? No pain, no gain. False. Soreness is okay. Not being able to move, not okay. Not being able to move in the middle of the workout is especially not okay. All right? If you are on rep number 2 and it already hurts, bad. Less weight, safer form, more reps is always going to be better than too much weight. Same thing with modifications. Modifiers do not necessarily mean that it's easier or less work. It just takes out the impact. So if you have, I don't know, knee pain, you don't have to jump. Not jumping doesn't mean less working. All right. It just means less impact on the joints. You should stretch before you work out. Stretching loosens your tendons. It makes you feel more flexible, but it also makes your muscles less steady. So I am not suggesting in any way that you should just get up out of bed and go run. What I am saying is warming up your body is good. Do you have to static stretch? No. Should you? No. Right? Roll it out, move through it. Please, please do not overly stretch before you work out. Lifting heavy weights bulks you up. False, wrong, like, no, no, no. You have to eat for hypertrophy. You have to eat specifically to build that muscle. So unless you are following a diet specifically intended to help you gain weight, then you're working those muscles in a specific way and then leaning out, you're not going to get bulky. You are not going to look like a bodybuilder because you did heavy squats. It's just not going to happen. Exercise machines beat free weights and dumbbells. False. Exercise machines are a great way to learn proper form because the machine, in most cases, forces you into proper form, right? I'm leaning back against the chest press and my hands are here and I'm pushing. It's really hard for my elbows to do this and me to still push based on where the handles are, right? However, staying on that machine long term is not allowing my smaller muscles to build. So I need to transition to the bench press where I lay on my back and I use dumbbells or a bar so that all of these side muscles and my back muscles are forced to assist me where the machine was assisting me before. Running on a treadmill is as effective as running outside. Wrong. It is a great pit stop if you can't run outside. It's a great way to rehab an injury, but running outside gives you terrain changes, right? Unstable footing, which is a good thing. Right? It helps build up your core muscles and all your supporting muscles. It also makes you, it changes all the time, right? Weather impacts the way that you run, maybe where you run. Grade, yes, you can adjust grade up and down, that is to say uphill and downhill on a treadmill, but having those things happen naturally is a good thing and it's going to burn more calories. Always. I know lots of people who say, I run my fastest mile on the treadmill. You don't say. It's flat and consistent, right? You shouldn't work out every day. This is not true, but working out is not defined the same way for everyone and every workout. So if you're doing something like a nice, gentle yoga, that's a workout. I would put that on what I would traditionally call a rest day. All right. Rest day to me means no high impact exercise. Your body does need time to recover. But does that mean you don't do anything? No. So you can work out every day, but limit your high weightlifting, your high intensity impact exercises to 3 to 4 times a week. You can't work out when you're sick. This is also false. Although most people don't want to work out when they're sick, working out when you're sick can help promote your body's ability to heal itself. It's also a really good way to clear out your sinuses. So if you've ever done a workout and then been like real snotty after, it's because it helps loosen everything up. It promotes blood flow, which is good, gets things moving along. Please just make sure that you're consuming enough fluids and that you're eating properly. Sweating means you're out of shape. Nope. Sweating means that your body is working at a high level. That's a good thing. Might you sweat sooner if you're out of shape? Yeah, because your body's working hard earlier than it might if you were in shape. But that's not a bad thing. Crunches are the best moves for your core. No, crunches, in fact, only work 1/3 of your core. Doing multi-directional, multi-plane, side to side, front to back, diagonal, reaching away, leaning away, all of that is the best way to work your core. Remember that your core wraps all the way around from right under your chest. You can't see. From right under your chest all the way around your body like a girdle. All right? It's your back, it's the part of your spine that meets your butt, it's your obliques, it's all of it. Working out makes you hungry. Nope, not fueling your body appropriately makes you hungry. Not eating enough fuel enough times throughout the day makes you hungry. Running beats walking. Not necessarily. Most people can't sustain running the way they can sustain walking. Sometimes walking is safer, more effective, and allows you to do more than just, I don't know, trying to run your fastest mile and be done. Last bit. Nothing can stop you from reaching your goals. False. Goalies. Do not be an unintentional goalie in your life. Super quick. Last piece right here. Setting goals is important. You're all in this group because you have a goal of being healthy in 2021. But understanding how to make those goals realistic and helpful, as opposed to just that thing you said when I asked you, why are you in this group, is important. Do you know your why? We talked about this on the last call, so I will not hammer it home, other than to say if you don't know what motivates you the most, then you will not be successful. Be honest with yourself about what motivates you the most. Skinny jeans are great, but I bet having your husband or your wife or your boyfriend or your girlfriend smack your butt when they walk by you in the kitchen is better. Don't let your ego get in the way. This is something I had to learn. So I had my twins 19 months ago. I had a C-section. I had gained 50 pounds. I had some blood pressure issues while I was pregnant. I was in a bad place when I got around to being allowed to work out. But I told myself I'm a fitness professional who shares her journey online. Before I was laid up at 34 weeks, I was teaching 12 classes a week. I eat well, like I should be able to bounce back. And then I didn't. And it was really difficult for me to get over myself. All right. No matter how many people told me all the things that I was dealing with, I had to get over myself. Do not let your ego get in the way. That also means do not be afraid to ask for help. Please don't think you know all the things about all the things, right? If you could do it by yourself, you wouldn't have asked to join this group. It is possible to go too big with your goals. Something like, I'm going to work out every single day for the rest of the month, and then the rest of the quarter, and then the rest of the year. Nope. You're setting yourself up to fail. But it's also possible to go too small, saying something like, I will stop eating after 8 p.m. Well, that's great. Eliminating late night snacking is excellent for kind of curbing some nutritional challenges. But if that's all you're going to do, you're not going to lose the 10 pounds you want to lose this month. You are not 10 pounds heavier because you eat after 8 p.m., I promise. So make sure you're setting goals that are in between those two things. Avoid setting too many at once. I'm going to reduce my body fat by 5%. I'm going to increase all my lifts by 10 pounds. My mile time is going to come down by a minute. I'm going to get back into those jeans I wore in high school and, I'm going to have date night 3 nights a week. That's too many goals, right? Too many spinning plates. But also, while you're setting fewer goals, make sure your goals aren't vague, like, I want to get healthy this year. What does that even mean? Or non-specific goals. I want to lose weight. Well, what does weight loss mean to you? Is that 50 pounds? Is that 10 pounds? Work with somebody like me who knows how to help you take your big goal. Maybe your big goal is 50 pounds and make it realistic. If you have a goal of losing 50 pounds in 8 weeks, it's not happening. I'm here to help you take the 50 pounds and figure out a better timetable. Excuse me. Don't underestimate time and distractions. If you know you are not the kind of person who can ignore notifications on your phone, don't take your phone in with you to work out. You know, the minute that ding comes, you're going to stop your workout and look at it. Don't underestimate the amount of time it will take you to meal prep, right? Let your spouse, your mom, your sister, whoever, watch the kids for 2 hours on a Sunday so that you can meal prep. Don't try to cram it into 10 minutes. It's not going to happen. Are you paying attention to your habits? You might have a goal that's great, but if you're not aware, and this is kind of where like tracking what you're eating, you might think you're eating healthfully, but if you're not actually tracking and looking at it and assessing, you might not have any idea that you're not eating nearly enough. Just as an example, pay attention to your habits. Do you always have a treat meal? Like at the end of every night, I have a Dr. Pepper and an ice cream. That's a problem if our long-term goals are things like sustained weight loss, right? Try to avoid setting negative goals. Something like, I won't go shopping for clothes this month. If your goal is to save money, that might sound like a good thing. I won't go shopping for clothes this month. But if you follow it with, because I won't fit into the size that I want, then your goal is less about saving money and more about not having to face up to the reality that perhaps you need to make some healthy changes, right? Don't set negative goals. I won't do blank thing, right? I won't have any soda this week. That's not a positive sounding goal. It sounds like a punishment, right? That's not to say you should not set a goal to avoid soda, just using that as an example. Lastly, don't set a goal without knowing the first step you're going to take to achieve it. Saying, I'm going to lose 50 pounds in the next 6 months is great and doable. However, if you don't know how the heck you're going to get there, you don't have your first step planned out, it's not great. Just looking at, I don't have it. I had a post-it on my desk somewhere with my goals for the year for my business. Just writing them down is not good enough. I need to know exactly what I'm going to do to make them happen. So maybe the first thing that you're going to do to make it happen is to send me a message and say, I want to have a one-on-one conversation. It's free. I want to have a one-on-one conversation with you about my goals and how to get there. That's the first step. Excellent. All right. I'm going to stop the recording. If you have questions, remember, and you're watching it back, please do post them in the comments below.